There is a wound that every true fan carries. It's not just the loss of a game, or a season, or even a championship. It's the loss of a future that seemed promised. The quiet, haunting fear that maybe your love is a one-way street, that the universe is not just indifferent, but actively laughing at your faith. For 86 years, the people of Boston carried such a wound in their collective heart. It wasn't just a losing streak. It was a ghost story, and the ghost's name was George Herman, Babe Ruth. This is where our story truly begins, not with a crack of the bat, but with the cold, hard clink of cash. The year was 1919. The Boston Red Sox were baseball's first dynasty, crowned kings of the young American League, and their crown jewel was a colossal force of nature, a left-handed pitcher who could also hit the ball farther than anyone had ever seen, Babe Ruth. But the team's owner, a Broadway producer named Harry Frazee, was in trouble. He needed money for his shows, and so he made a deal. He sold the greatest talent in the history of the sport to the New York Yankees. It was more than a transaction. It was an original sin. The cosmic ledger of baseball was broken. Ruth went to New York and didn't just become a star. He became a god, transforming the Yankees into an empire and the game itself into a spectacle of power. And Boston was cast into the shadows. What followed wasn't a dry spell. It was a curse, a divine punishment. It was watching your stolen treasure build a palace for your greatest rival. For generations, the Red Sox became poets of tragedy. They didn't just lose, they crafted masterpieces of heartbreak. They would come achingly close, only to have fate snatch it away in the cruelest fashion. In 1946, the speedy Enos Slaughter scored all the way from first on a single to break their hearts. In 1967, the impossible dream team of Carl Yastrzemski fought valiantly, only to fall in 7 games. In 1975, they played perhaps the greatest World Series ever, Carlton Fisk waving a ball fair in the 12th inning of a legendary Game 6, only to lose Game 7. But the true embodiment of the curse, the moment that seared it into the soul of every New Englander, came in 1986, Game 6 of the World Series, at Shea Stadium against the Mets. The Red Sox were one strike away, twice. The championship was right there, inches from their grasp. Then a slow roller trickled down the first baseline and through the legs of Bill Buckner. The error heard around the world. The loss wasn't just a defeat, it was a confirmation. The curse of the Bambino was real. It was sentient, and it delighted in Boston's agony. Hope itself became a form of torture. But what if I told you that the greatest redemption story in sports history was being written in the ink of that very despair? That the 2004 Boston Red Sox weren't just a team, but a catharsis waiting to happen. It set the stage for the ultimate confrontation, the American League Championship Series, the Boston Red Sox versus the young New York Yankees, the cursed versus the Kings. And it began as the old script demanded. The Yankees humiliated the Sox at home. They won Game 3 in the Bronx by a score of 19-8. No team in history had ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. The obituaries were being written. The joke was reaching its punchline. In the 9th inning of Game 4, the greatest closer of all time, Mariano Rivera, stood on the mound to deliver the final blow. But in that moment, something shifted. It wasn't hope. It was a deeper, more primal thing. Sheer, stubborn refusal. A stolen base by Dave Roberts, a single by Bill Mueller, and the Red Sox won in extra innings. They had avoided the sweep. They had merely delayed the inevitable, everyone said. Then, David Ortiz, Big Papi, became a force of myth. A walk-off home run to win Game 5 in the 14th inning. A bloody-socked Curt Schilling pitching on a torn tendon in Game 6. And in Game 7, a blowout so complete it felt like an exorcism. 4 games, 4 wins, against the Yankees. The impossible had been achieved. The ghost had been faced, and for the first time, it blinked. When they swept the St. Louis Cardinals to win the World Series, the celebration in Boston was not just of joy, but of profound, generational release. Fathers who had waited a lifetime cried with sons who would never know that same weight. The 86-year burden was lifted. The curse was not just broken, it was obliterated. But this story doesn't end in 2004. That was just the moment the universe was set right. What followed was the proof. Championships in 2007, in 2013, a city-healing victory just months after the Boston Marathon bombing, and again in 2018. The once tortured franchise had become a modern dynasty. The narrative had flipped from lovable losers to relentless winners. This is the essence of the Boston Red Sox saga. It is the longest, most emotional arc in American sports. It's about identity forged in failure, about the resilience of a city mirrored in its team. It's about Fenway Park, that ancient green-walled cathedral of hope and heartbreak, standing as a witness to it all. From the swing of the kid, Ted Williams, to the clutch power of the captain, Carl Yastrzemski, from the artistry of Pedro Martinez to the leadership of David Ortiz, from the trade that broke a city's heart to the night that finally, gloriously, made it whole. This is our chronicle. These are the stories of the Boston Red Sox, and this is only the beginning.